First story. OP attempted self-harm after his sister publicly humiliated him for the way he reacted to their half-brother's death, saying he doesn't care about little bastards. Now forcefully held in a mental institution. Including sister's response. I am not natively English speaking, so I apologize for my mistakes. Backstory. I 18M have a sister 16F. About 8 years ago, my father dropped a bomb on our family. He cheated and got his affair woman pregnant. My mother was absolutely devastated, but she still tried to get over the affair. But it was hard. This woman would constantly bring over my father's son, and everyone hated it. My mother didn't say anything, but I know she suffered every time she saw the kid. My sister in time got fond of him. I never wanted anything to do with him. I didn't even interact with him. We lived this nightmare for about 5 years, and my mother couldn't take it anymore. She divorced my father and moved out, and I was in full support of that. They asked us who we wanted to live with, and I instantly chose my mother. My sister has chosen my father, and I see that as a huge betrayal. At this point, I didn't consider her my sister anymore. 2 months later, my father moved and her child into our old house. I hated it and went to LC with my father and sister. But my sister constantly messaged me, behaving like everything was okay, and I always blew her off and gave short answers. Same with my father. Constantly, every week, birthdays, holidays, sending gifts, I just ignored them. So, 2 days ago, I was at the party and met this cute boy, and we hit it off immediately. I was a little drunk and high. Of course, my sister interrupted, like always, and messaged me that something horrible had happened. I didn't respond. She called, but I didn't pick up. She messaged that her father's son had an accident. Annoyed, I messaged her to leave me alone, and I don't care about little bastards. She messaged that I'm psycho and wondered if I even cared about her. I messaged that she's a traitor, and the moment she chose our father, she stopped being my sister and could go ask someone else for emotional support. At this point, I turned off my phone. I was with this cute boy the whole day and left my phone at home turned off. When I came home, I turned it on. And OMG, over 1,200 messages, 200 calls. The whole family messaged me from all sides, even unknown people. Apparently, my now ex-sister published screenshots of our conversation on Facebook. It was up long enough for everyone to see before our father forced her to take it down. I just deleted and blocked. My mother messaged me that I would be in big trouble when I came home. Father messaged that he still loves me, and only now does he understand how much he hurt me. My friends think I am effed up and need serious professional help. I disagree. I just don't care. Why should I be for that? So, Ada for what I messaged my sister. Update. So, for all to know, I am now a hateful person. I don't hate. Do I have anger and resentment? Yes, but I don't hate it. Even my dad. I don't hate him. I still love him to the core. I still crave for his attention and his love to be there for me. He was the best effing dad ever. I miss him so much, and I cry every day for him. He was always the one to make me feel better. But he can't do that now. He is the reason for this. I am so angry with him. Every time he came back, I hugged him, saying I love you, all in the hope it would clear his fog and help him realize his son still needs him. Countless nights ago, I was up wondering what else I could do to make him stay and win him back. But I knew I had failed him when he told his other son that he was his favorite. I heard that. He doesn't know. Of course he was. On one side, it was me, a little sad, depressed boy, introvert, distanced, moody, and always needy for attention, looking like a zombie every day, not interacting. On the other side, it was this beautiful, shiny little boy, always smiling and making everyone's day. Of course, it was his favorite. And moms and sisters. The whole room shone when he entered and darkened when I entered. Yes, I was resentful, but I didn't do anything to him. I lost, and I wanted to get out. I know it's stupid now at 18 to even write this. I have grown physically, but emotionally, I am still a 10-year-old boy who wants his family so badly. I know that. Everyone moved on, and I still stayed the same. I'm still hoping for my dad and my family to come back. At 1 a.m. in the morning, there was a loud banging on my door. It was Mom. She was a crying mess like me. She thought I hurt myself when nobody could reach me for a day and a half. I blocked everyone. She hugged me and wouldn't let go for what seemed like eternity. Then we talked, and I told her everything, like some here suggested. She was understanding, and we cried some more. She wants me to go to therapy ASAP, because all this anger and resentment will eat me alive and destroy my life. She said my dad, sister, and whole family are worried sick about me. I decided I would Skype call my sister today. I don't know about my dad yet because I don't know if I could look into his eyes. Yes, I am a wimp too. Update 2. This will be my final update. Some are very sad, and some are happy. So, if you read my previous emotional update, you know that my mother came to my apartment. We talked and cried all night. I asked her if there was still something going on between her and my father. She was evasive, but admitted that they still feel love for each other. I told her that I resented her for that. She divorced him, and then became his affair partner. She kept him in her life and prevented me from moving on. His son was just a means to an end. Being with his son meant being with him. There was no forgiveness here because nothing changed. She was quiet, so I took that as confirmation. Then I Skyped my sister. I apologized for my cruelty. I didn't make excuses. I told her I wrote that with the intention of hurting her. I thought that by doing so, she would finally realize that I don't want to be part of her life and to leave me alone. Then we talked, and I asked her why she chose to go live with our father. She told me it was because of me. I was having a really unhealthy attachment to my father, and when the affair was exposed, I became a really miserable, dark kid. This whole obsession to keep our parents together was driving her nuts. She couldn't wait for my father's son to come because of that. Meant I was locked in my room or was out of the house for days. It was so much easier to breathe when I wasn't there. Then she said all my father's family felt that way, and this is why they distanced themselves from me. I thanked her for her honesty and told her this was a goodbye call. She didn't want that and started crying. I told her that none of this is her fault, but our relationship is beyond repair, and I don't want to save it. She was really hysterically crying, so I wished her all well and ended the call. I got some courage and Skyped my father too. He was a mess, as expected. I didn't see him for a very long time, and he changed a lot. I apologized to him too, and told him I was sorry for his loss. We talked, and I told him that I still have very deep love for my dad. But that dad died 8 years ago. He hurt me over and over again, and he didn't care. I became a non-factor in his life, and that broke me. He is the reason I am the person I am today. I told him that I didn't want him in my life anymore and would go to NC. He cried that he didn't want to lose another son, and I said we lost each other 8 years ago. Then I ended the call. Finally, I called my mother. This was the hardest. I told her that I loved her, but I can't trust her anymore. She will have people in her life that I don't want to see, and it's time we two parted ways. She didn't expect this, and she was shocked. I told her I was going to NC and would change my phone number and university. Then I told her that she needed therapy too, and that she would never be truly happy until she got rid of my father. I ended the call. Therapy is a no-go currently, as I have no money to spare. That's it. Update. Hi. I posted my story elsewhere. You can find it in my profile with my comments. But long story short, I had a pretty bad childhood. Lots of trauma. It started with my father's infidelity, and the result of it was a child. My mother wanted to fix things and get over them. My father was very involved in his new child's life, and he was at our house a lot, but I didn't want anything to do with him. I was usually locked in my room or with my friends when he was at our house. After 5 years, my mother divorced my father, moved out, and I went with her. My younger sister stayed with my father, which I considered a betrayal. I went to LC with my father and sister. I didn't want to go to NC because I knew my mother would be devastated. My plan was to be distant LC and wait until our lives naturally drift apart. The problem was that my mother forgave my father and was pretty much involved in his child's life. I couldn't move on because of this. Then tragedy happened, and my sister reached out to me, but I responded in a very cruel way. She posted my response on Facebook, and a SHT storm started. I went to NC with everyone. After a couple of days of talking with my mother and getting suggestions from Redditors here, I decided to set firm boundaries with my family. I told my sister, mother, and father that I don't want a relationship with them anymore and will go to NC. Now, the problem is that they know where I live and are still bugging me. I will transfer to another university, but I can do that only next year as I missed the deadline. I don't even have money to change my phone number at the moment. My mother is literally camping in her car outside my apartment. My sister was there for some time. They are devastated and want to save me. I don't want to come out. I have had food for about 2 weeks, but sooner or later I will have to come out. I don't know what to do. I tried to set boundaries, but it didn't work. I kind of devised a plan to start communicating with everyone until next year, pretending everything is okay. And when my transfer is complete, I will just disappear, change my phone number, and move on. But I know my mother will not, and she will forever search for me. Update. Hi. I am still here. And this will be my final update, because I am going away for some time. Anyway, I was really close. At one point, I decided this was it. I unlocked the door, filled my bathtub, and went in. Everything was peaceful. I was relaxed. The time came, and I just couldn't do it. Another failure like everything in my life. I texted my mother that I had given up, and that the front door was unlocked. Mom, Dad, Uncle, and 2 cousins came in. They freaked the hell out. Father grabbed me and pulled me out. Mom covered me, and I was just done. Defeated. I don't know how long I was on the floor in my father's arms, but at some point I snapped back, stood up, and went to my room and dressed. I packed my clothes and other stuff and told them to take me where they wanted to take me. They took me home, and Mom notified me that we had an appointment at a mental facility 5 kilometers away. They gave me a choice. I come freely and start healing and working on my problems, or I am declared an emergency case, rough translation to English, and I lose independence. I will be closely monitored, and doctors will make decisions about when I come out. I have chosen first. Going in on Saturday. We came home, and a conversation happened. Both parents were crying all the time like 8 years too late about how they loved me, etc. The usual. I told them they failed me, and this is the result. A monstrous psychopath without empathy. They should have helped me when they saw how I was affected and started to shut down. But all I got was family therapy with Mom, sister, and me, where I felt uncomfortable talking. They gave up and just left me. I was spiraling down hard, and they just let it happen. Even worse, they were relieved when I left the house. I felt lonely and abandoned. They cried all the time and apologized over and over again. I told them that this didn't mean we would have a relationship. I am here because I couldn't get help anywhere else. They made sure of it. They planned it, and I know it. They wanted me defeated. They said they understood, and that I must heal first, and then we will see. If I heal and still do not want a relationship, they will understand and leave me alone. At one point, my sister came. I won't tell all the conversation. I told her that none of this is her fault. I put her in an unwinnable situation. It was a bad move of mine to do that to a child. She was as much a victim as me, if not more. She hugged me and told me she would always be open for me to come back into her life. I don't talk much anymore. I'm just waiting to get out of this house. Oh, as far as extended family is concerned. Now I know why they completely cut me off. When I entered puberty, I was crushing on my dad. I searched for information online because I felt like SHT. And that is perfectly normal. I was still monitored, as was my sister, and my parents knew. My idiot dad actually bragged to my grandparents how cute that is. They already couldn't stand me because I was cuddly, and he went and said that to them. Now they saw me as some incestuous freak. Unbelievable. I will never have a relationship with them again. Many thanks to everyone who reached out and offered me advice and support. I didn't respond much because I was overwhelmed. But I read it and appreciated it. Post from sister. Today, my brother got sent to a mental institution because of me, and I'm glad. Here, I said it. When my half-brother died, I notified my brother. He never wanted anything to do with him. He messaged me back with very mean things, and I was so pissed. I took a screenshot of the messages and put it on social media. I know, no dirty family laundry, but I was pissed. He got harassed so much that he wanted to take his own life. My family got into his apartment on time. It took almost 4 days. He was barricaded in it. When they got in, he was in the bathtub and taking a lot of sedatives. Dad got him out and made him vomit everything out. Today, he was institutionalized. His story is very dark, and he should have been in a mental institution long before that. I still love him so much, and I am glad he finally got help. This was just a short rant. Select comments. 1. I never mocked my brother. I just think he needed help a long time ago. I only speed things up, and I am glad he will get the help he needs. 2. I love my brother very much. Thank you. He would harm himself one way or another. I'm just being honest and real. 3. That wasn't my intention. I was mad and grieving. His messages were very cruel, and it was a lot more than he admitted. 4. I was mad and grieving. Cut me some slack. I wouldn't do it if I knew what would happen. And I didn't decide anything. The doctors did. 5. Unfortunately, my brother's view of reality is severely warped. My parents did want to help him. He even went through a psychiatric evaluation, which he conveniently forgot to mention. But doctors didn't want to establish a diagnosis because he was too young. He didn't want to go to individual therapy. My parents were powerless at this point. 6. We were not the cause. That's horrible of you to say. He had problems long before that and refused to get treatment. I found his post, and I'm shocked at how out of touch with reality he was. It's even worse than we thought. I showed it to my parents, and they are horrified. Especially some comments. The post will be taken down soon. 7. Our family deserves privacy. Especially in these difficult times. His story is very specific, and a lot of people who know him will recognize him. We don't want them to see his personal thoughts. This is for his own protection in the future. 8. Actually, cheating never happened. My parents were in what you would call an open marriage. Dad had a girlfriend, and a pregnancy happened. Mom was shocked and had a breakdown when she found out. That wasn't supposed to happen. But they worked it through, and Dad assured her that their relationship would not change, and he still loved her. She loved my half-brother. Of course, we kids didn't understand open marriage, and my parents never discussed that with us. We were just told that our dad has a girlfriend, and we have a little brother. As you can see from his post, my brother understood this totally differently. He wanted to fix something that was never broken. My parents are nerve wrecks right now. My whole family supports them, and I am sure we did the right thing. After this, the family discovered OP's account and deleted his posts. The sister has also since taken over her brother's account and sent this lovely message. What? Do you think anyone cares about my brother? No one does, and he will never get out. We will make sure of it. He belongs there. He was so much odd to me that I almost wish my parents were too late. It would be so much easier for all of us. But it gave me a little more satisfaction when I saw him begging and crying on our ride to the mental institution. He knew he was not getting out of there. He belongs there forever. A lot of people here were right. He is a freak and needs to be contained. Put that into your little story. I am sure everyone will see you because you are such an important person, and people can't wait to browse your profile. Not, lol. The link to a screenshot of the message is in the description. Here is another harassing DM the sister sent to another Redditor, Udreed Full Night Sleep, who had first posted this situation to Boru. Well, it's down. It was so easy. No questions were asked. My family doesn't even know. I made it up. I don't think they would even care. My freak brother is finally locked up. He will never get out. Thank God. Such a relief. He was such an odd to all of us. He doesn't get to gather sympathy from anyone. I will even delete this account and erase everything. He deserves to be forgotten. I even smoked his hidden weed lol. Bye bye, Karma WH Gatherer. Link to screenshot of message in the description. Edit. It looks like the sister deleted both accounts. Good riddance. Second story. OP's grandparents do not approve of her boyfriend just because he is black. My grandparents don't approve of my relationship with my black boyfriend and don't want me to marry him. What do you do when you find out that someone you love more than anything in the world actually has some bad qualities? I was orphaned at 8, and my paternal grandparents took me in. They've raised me with the utmost love and care anyone could ask for, and I'm not lying when I say that they'd readily die for me. But most parents and grandparents are like that. So you all know what I'm talking about. I've always looked up to them, and they've always set the very best examples for me. I've never ever seen either of them be unkind to a single soul, and they've always taught me to be that way too. Recently, though, I received the shock of my life when I saw their reaction to seeing my boyfriend, let's call him Sam for the first time, who happens to be black. I've never pegged them for racist people, and it was honestly unexpected. They tried to hide it, but I could see on their faces that they didn't approve. Since then, they've just never liked the guy and have always been really nitpicky about him, criticizing him about the smallest of things, always judging every single thing he says and does very harshly, etc. I've tried time and again to convince them that he's a really good guy, that he loves me and cares about me, but to no avail. Well, he proposed to me, and it was the happiest moment of my life. When I told my grandparents, though, it was clear they were upset. This time, unlike before, they didn't make excuses about why they didn't like him, and just straight up confessed to having a problem with his race. At first, I was incredibly pissed off, but I tried to reason with them and get to the bottom of why they felt this way. They think all black people are really similar to the way they're portrayed in racist stereotypes. This is all despite the fact that he's nothing like the racist stereotypes portray black people. He's a college-educated, well-dressed, well-spoken man with a good job and a decent salary. This doesn't sway them. Another thing that really confuses me is my mom, who was Asian. They were apparently not only okay with their son marrying an Asian woman, they loved her like she was their own daughter. They're also really good friends with my maternal grandparents, who are from Korea or Singapore. When my maternal grandparents found out, they weren't too happy either, and they were actually much more direct about it compared to my paternal grandparents. I honestly don't know what to do. My boyfriend fiancé has always sort of known that my grandparents didn't really like him, but he doesn't suspect that it's because of his race. My friends have all unanimously sided against my grandparents and said stuff like, they don't get to dictate what you do with your life. Tell them to either accept it or you'll cut them off permanently. Just cut them off. They're toxic people, etc. While my grandparents are definitely in the wrong about all this, I can't even begin to fathom cutting them out of my life. They gave everything they had and more to raise me and give me the best life they could. They're the reason I am who I am today. They were always there for me, took care of my every need, and always put me above themselves. How can I just abandon them like this, after everything they've done for me? On the other hand, I can't imagine losing Sam either. What do I do? P.S. I gave my maternal grandparents an earful and told them straight up that they had no right to say the kind of stuff they said about Sam, and that it was extremely rude. They tried to say stuff like, we only want what's best for you, etc. But I shut that SHT down and told them I wouldn't speak to them again unless they treated him with respect. Update 1 week later. Hey guys, thanks for all your responses to my previous post. It was all really good advice, but the very best out of it all was the suggestion that I come clean to Sam. I did that, and he reacted in a surprisingly calm manner. I asked him how he's taking it so well, and he told me he's experienced something similar before. His cousin had come out as gay a few years ago, and he told me how his own grandparents reacted very poorly to his cousin's revelation. He told me they absolutely refused to acknowledge the fact that he was gay, and said some pretty hurtful stuff along the lines of how his homosexuality would embarrass them in front of all their family and friends, etc. They wouldn't allow the cousin to bring his boyfriend to family gatherings and threatened to cut him out of their inheritance unless he got his head straight. He then showed me pictures of his grandparents laughing along with his cousin's husband, pictures of them at his cousin's wedding, etc. He told me they eventually grew out of it, and as they got to know him, they really bonded with the guy. Sam joked that he wouldn't give my grandparents a choice, and that within a month, they'd be in love with him. Well, I think it's working. Sam and I have dinner at my grandparents' house every night, and each night I notice them more and more at ease and more avidly taking part in our conversations. Sam and my grandpa are both World War II enthusiasts, and my grandpa absolutely loves having discussions on the subject with Sam. I decided to update this post because last night something very special happened. I got there before Sam, and I could see the disappointment on their faces when they thought I had come alone. They asked where Sam was when he was coming, etc. Then they said we wouldn't start eating until he arrived. I'm just so incredibly happy that I get to keep both relationships. Thank you for watching the video. If you are interested in listening to these kinds of stories, we've got more in store for you. Simply subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, and share it with your friends.